again, hope everyone is doing great. Today we are going to learn a bit difficult but most important tool of Adobe Illustrator, and that is the pen tool. But we will learn it in the most easiest way. We will start from the basics and then we will design a cupcake. So keep watching. So as I told you that we will start from the basics, I will share its AI file with you guys so you can also do the tracing. We will form these lines, this star, and this little curvy, a heart. So first let's start from the lines. So let's zoom in a little bit. Okay, so now let's choose the pen tool, and I will increase the stroke up to 40 points, and I will select black color as the stroke, and I will remove the filling. Now simple click at the starting point, just like this, and straight to the ending. Click again. Here we go, we have a straight line, and let's first stretch it a little bit. And yes, one more important thing here is if you want to remove that green projected line, then simply just press escape. Now I will draw this with rounded corners. I will draw a same line just like I did earlier, and I will select it. And I will go into the settings, and from right here I will select the rounded caps, and now you can see that I have now rounded caps. So now let's draw this cornered line. Simply click, and click again. So now I can see I have a little pointed corner. So now let's draw this one again. Click, and click. And now again select it, and from the settings select these rounded corners. You can have some different options like this, but now let's go with the rounded one, and I can move it a little bit up. And here we go, we are done with the lines and with the cornered lines and how to do some settings to have round edges. Okay, so now let's draw the star. As you can see that we have these cornered edges. So from the stroke settings, I will reset settings back to the pointed edges, and I will decrease the stroke to almost 3 points. Now let's start drawing. Simple click at the corners, click again and again. So this is how you can make a star. Just keep on clicking at the corners. And the last one like this. Now I want it to be colored, so just select it, and from here I will give it black filling. So now you can see I have a perfect star. Now let's move towards the heart. So now we will draw a simple heart, and we will learn a very important trick here, that is how to draw the curves. So what will we do is we will simply break down the curves into straight lines, just like this. So first draw a point from where the curve is starting to the point where the curve is ending. So from here to here. Now you can see a straight line is covering the curve. So again, the next curve is starting from here and ending at here. So I will again draw a straight line instead of forming a curve. So again like this, and a straight line for another curve. So you just need to think that from where the curve is starting and from where the curve is ending, that is, a straight line can cover which portion of the curve. So again like this. So now you must be thinking that it's not even looking close to our heart. So now here comes the shortcut. So what we'll do is simply press Alt, and when you hover the cursor over here, then you will see that your cursor has changed to curvature tool. So simply click and drag it like this, and you can see that now the straight line is converted into the curve. So again, keep pressing Alt and simply drag it like this. So you have to keep on holding the Alt key and then drag it. So we will do for all these lines, simply holding the Alt key and simply dragging it so that it can become curves like this. And finally we will do the same with the last one. And here we go. A quick review is simply draw 2 points from where the curve is starting and at a position at which the curve is ending, and then simply by holding the Alt key drag it and it will become a curve. So here we go, we have made this heart. We can further make it more smooth by simply selecting the direct selection tool and click on the anchor point, which is joining two curves. And from right here we can select this one. And yes, one more important thing is it will not always make your curves smooth. Sometimes it just destroys your shape, but most of the times it makes your object more smooth. Okay, so now let's start working on our real project, that is the cupcake. So I will create a new project. And for now, let's simply click on create, and then we can set the artboard size using the artboard tool. Simply select the artboard tool, and I think it's enough. Now I will close my previous project so I can just focus on this one. I don't want to save it. So now let's place the image. Simply click on file, place, choose the image which you want to open and click on place. And here we go, we have placed our image. Let's make it a little smaller. So this is which we want to trace. So first of all, what will I do is, yes, first let's keep its opacity to 50% or around about 50. And finally, to avoid any type of disturbances, I will create a new layer and lock the previous one. So now let's start working with the base of the cupcake. So choose the pen tool, and for a straight line I will simply draw a straight line, but again for a curve I will again draw a straight line. So just like this, instead of drawing curves I am drawing straight lines. So simple like this. And now I will press Alt and I will make these straight lines curves like this. So again with this one, yeah, and finally with this one. And here we go, we are done with the stroke of the base. And again I can make it more smooth like this, and I can view it. So first let's rename this layer to base, and I will create a new layer for the cupcake layer. Simple double click and type base. Now I will create a new layer and I will lock this one and make this invisible so that I can focus on the next part of the cupcake. And one important thing to learn here is whenever you are working on some bigger project, then you must break it down into smaller portions. And here I'm going to draw this part again, though I have already drawn it for the base. But the reason behind drawing it again is because you want to make a closed path, and you will later see the importance of closed paths when you will start coloring the cupcake. If you have left these as open paths and just draw the stroke, then later you will have to face so many difficulties. So now I'm going to draw this part again for the next layer. So now let's simply choose the pen tool, and just like we did for the base, again for a curve I'm going to draw a line. So keep simple making lines. So just like this and like this. And first let's remove this white filling. And now again simple select pen tool and press Alt and convert these lines into curves same goes with this one. Just press it and move it down like this. Okay, so now we are done with this one. I can just zoom out. I can just give this white filling. And here we go. We have our base and first layer all done. We can also show it like this. Now it's perfectly drawn. So now we can move on to our first layer. First make these both layers invisible, make a new layer. And yes, we can rename it as topping. First rename the lower one. You can give it any name. So here we go. Now I'm going to draw this first layer. So again, choose the pen tool, and instead of drawing a curve, we are going to draw a straight line. And either we can do all of this stuff at the end, that is transforming the straight lines into curves, or we can do it alongside. So just straight line, and by holding Alt, converting into curve, and again clicking on this and straight line, and click here and converting it into the curve like this, or like this. It's more better. So same things. And yes, I can just remove this white filling so I can focus on what I'm drawing. So continuing it. Yeah, I think it's like this. And straight line, and then finally the last curve. And here we go. So now this one is like this. So now I can give it white filling, and I can make this layer invisible, and we are done with the base and 2 layers. So now let's move to the next layer. Well, this is just like the one which we made earlier, so I'm just gonna copy it and I'm just gonna place it like this, a little smaller, and I'm going to make its opacity a little less. Okay, so now arrange send to back and just adjust it like this, and it's just a little bit more smaller. Now I'm going to make it one more copy, and again let's make it smaller, arrange send to back, and now I can reset the opacity back to 100%. Here we go. So now let's move towards the cherry and the last layer. So I'm just gonna again copy this one and reflect it like this, and now I'm going to remove the extra portion. First arrange send to back like this. Now let's make the cherry. So for cherry I'm going to make a new layer, and I can rename it to cherry, and I can make this invisible so I can focus on the cherry. I'm just going to use the ellipse tool like this. Now let's for now remove the filling. Here we go with the curved portion, and I'm going to go to the stroke settings and make the rounded caps or rounded corners, whatever you want. Same goes with this one. Here we go. So yes, we are done with the cherry part. So now I can give it white filling. And yes, here we go. So one thing here is, first let's adjust it a little bit. Yeah, it's good. Now first let's make the shadow. A new layer. And again I'm going to use the ellipse tool. Like this. And let's give it black filling. So we're almost done. Okay, so now the cherry and the top layer, I want to make them look like they are behind this one. So I'm going to select them, group them, and I'm going to move this layer to here. So now you can see that now it looks like it is behind this layer. So the last but not the least portion, the eyes and the face. So let's make a new layer for this. And you can simply rename it. So now let's again draw using pen tool like this, and again pressing Alt and making it to a curve like this. Now I'm going to the stroke settings to make the round corners. First just remove the filling. So here I go. Now I don't need to make it again, simply press Alt and drag. Now let's draw the face like this, and then again using Alt, convert the straight line into a curve. And finally, okay, so first let's smooth this one. Yes. Now let's draw some circles like this, and I can just remove the stroke and give it white color for now, and simply again Alt and drag, and here we go. So basically we are all done with the stroke. I can just make this invisible to show you. So now let's start coloring. Again, we are going to start coloring from the base. So first let's move this picture to here, because I don't need to do any more tracing, and I can make its opacity back to 100% like this, and it's good like this. Now just lock this layer, and first let's start working on the base. So I'm just going to make all the layers invisible. Simply select it and make it copy, give it color using eyedropper tool, and arrange, send to back. So here we go. Now for the shadow, again I'm going to make a copy so you can see it's shaped like this. So first let's use the eyedropper tool and place it like this, and now I'm going to use the eraser. So first I'm going to erase like this. Yes, and now pressing Alt, I can remove in the rectangular form. So here we go, we're done with the shadow part. So now for the top one, I'm going to use the stroke. So first it's enough. So now remove the filling, object, and expand. Now I'm going to erase it, lower portion, because I just want that line. Now I can give it color using eyedropper tool. I'm sorry. using the eyedropper tool. Yes, now I can move it back to the top like this. So here we go. It's enough. So we are done with the base, the shadow part, and all of that. So now let's zoom out a little bit, lock this one, and now let's move towards the first layer again, making a copy, giving it color using eyedropper tool, arrange, send to back, and moving it here like this. And again I am going to make a copy of it, and for now I'm going to give it stroke just like this. Move the filling, object, expand. So now I'm going to use the eraser. So remember this, always use expanding the object and then use the eraser. So now I can just remove its upper part like this. And a little more. Yes, I think it's good to go. Again, using eyedropper tool, give it color, and now set its to position. I think it's all done. So we are done with the base and the first layer. Yeah, it's good to go. So now let's move to the topping 2 part. So now let's color this one. Now I'm going to tell you another way to color it. So first let's make a copy of it, increase the stroke and object, expand, and I'm going to use the pathfinder subtract tool on it. I have already explained it in another video. I will also place its link in the description. So here we go. I have subtracted it one, and now I'm going to color it using the eyedropper tool, and I'm going to place it like this. So you can see that it's perfectly placed. Okay, so now let's make another copy of it. Simple click and drag and give it this color and make another copy of it like this. So place it like this and use the eraser tool again. First let's adjust it, and I'm going to use the eraser tool, and I'm going to erase it like this and remove the extra portion too. So now for the line below, I can increase the stroke, remove the filling, or you can just expand it first, ungroup it, and now I can just delete the filling, and I'm going to erase its upper part like this. Okay, have given it color, and I can place it like this, and now it just needs a little bit adjusting. You can stretch it a little bit. So now let's zoom out a little bit, and I'm going to arrange, bring to front, and I'm going to remove the filling so I can see the shapes which I have placed behind it. So here we go. So now let's zoom in a little bit, and yeah, it's good. I'm going to use the direct selection tool, and I'm going to move this corner so that it looks perfectly placed. So here we go. So now to color the above layers, I can simply select them and move them like this, make them a little smaller. Yeah, like this. So yeah, and I can remove this one, and again for the top layer, I'm going to color it like this, a little more smaller. Or you can simply send it to back and remove the filling. So here we go. So let's drag and make a copy of it. Again, give it color using eyedropper tool and place it just like I did with the first layer, and I'm going to use the eraser tool. So here we go, like this, and remove the extra portion. And this is for that layer, so I can just simply bring it like this. You can stretch it. You can color it however you want. There are different ways to color it, so I'm just going to do it like this time, so I can remove the extra portion using the eraser tool. So here we go, from this one too, and now I can simply press Alt and erase in rectangular portion like this. So now let's do the same with this one. Eyedropper, color, eraser tool, like this, and erase the extra portion. Again, giving it color. Like this. Just a little more stretched. Yeah, it's good to go. So now one thing to notice is, now I need to make them a little smooth. You can see that it's curved around here, but in my design right now it's not like that, so I'm going to use pen tool. So simple, choose pen tool and draw and like this, or you can simply do this by pressing Alt 2. There are multiple ways of using pen tool, so I'm going to use like this. So again, now this time let's press Alt and like this. So again, I'm going to make a closed path. Same goes with this one. Again, point and Alt and drag and like this. So here we go. Now it's looking all smooth. So I can make these visible. So we are done with almost all the parts. Now the left one is cherry and the top layer. So let's unlock this one and zoom in, ungroup this one. I'm going to give it color, and then I can place it like this, and I can simply adjust it. So now let's first, yes, yeah, it's good to go now, I think. Yeah, so now let's color the cherry. So simply select eyedropper tool and I can increase the stroke back. Yeah, that's good to go. So now the shade portion, I'm going to color it like this, and I'm going to use the Pathfinder subtract tool. So I'm giving it this color so you can visualize it better way. So now select them both, window, Pathfinder tool, subtract, and give this color and place it like this. So now I can adjust it. Just a little to left. And here we go, here we go. So now let's color its face too. So simple cheeks, and I'm going to give them eyedropper too. So now first let's give it this color and then increase the stroke. So here we go. I have colored each and every single part. So now for the quick sprinkles, let's zoom in first, and using the pen tool I can simply draw a line, and using the stroke settings I can give it round caps like this, and now I can make it a little smaller, stretch it, yeah, and now I can place it just like I have placed in the previous cupcake. So simple, place it like this, a little bit rotated. Same goes with this one, and one right here, and yes, let's rotate it. Yes, and the final one right here, and again a little rotated. Now I can select them all, object, expand, okay, and now I can give them color. Just select it, and using the eyedropper tool give it color. And the final one like this. So now this one is complete, and I can delete this one now, and here we go. Now this is the last part, the shadow. I'm just going to select them all, and I'm going to move it like this, and I can decrease the stroke a little bit. Yes, like this. So here we go, our cupcake is all ready. So that's all for today. We learned how to design a cupcake. See you next video. Till then, keep on practicing and practicing and practicing.